What's good? What's good? What's good? It's your inspirator, motivator, coming with another episode of Men of Chivalry podcast that I started, just talking about men issues and different things that men go through on a day-to-day basis. So it gives us an opportunity and an outlet to share our feelings and just express some of the things that we go through as men. And so I started this podcast just to, share some of my feelings, share some of my thoughts and experiences that, I've been through to help other young men or other men out there to be inspired to do better. I haven't did a podcast in a little bit, but I just decided to hop on today and just in my spirit to do one. And so I got an exciting episode, exciting message for you. Um, and so we just gonna get right into it. Let's get it. Let's go. Let's go. So today I would just like to get into a message that God gave me that was placed upon my heart, and I'm excited to talk about it. Um, some things, happen in life that trigger you to get out of your comfort zone. And, it's like you trying to find a song on a playlist or you trying to find a song on YouTube and you wind up stumbling on a song that actually God wanted you to hear. But you wouldn't have never heard that song if you wasn't actually looking for a different song that you was looking for. And so, sometimes in life, what God does is He causes certain things to happen in our lives to push us, to cause us to get out of our comfort zone, to do what He has called us to do and to fulfill His purpose. And so, today some things happen. And so, God was like, it's time to, get this message out because sometimes, I'll get comfortable, I'll go work out, I'll come home, I'll relax, I'll do all of my, single dad duties that I have to do, laundry, um, folding clothes, cooking dinner for my 9-year old. So, sometimes I just want to relax. And, God was saying today is not the day to relax. I need you to get this message out. And so, I decided to get this message and go ahead and get it out there so everybody can hear it. And so I want to go ahead and get into it. So I'm going to come from the book of Jeremiah in the Bible, chapter 30. I'm going to read verses 10 through 18. It's a little lengthy chapter or verses, but I'm going to get right into it. And so in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, starting at verse 10, it says, "So do not be afraid, Jacob, my servant. Do not be dismayed, Israel, declares the Lord. I will surely save you out of a distant place, your descendants from the land of their exile. Jacob will again have peace and security, and no one will make him afraid. I am with you and will save you, declares the Lord. Though I completely destroy all the nations among which I scatter you, I will not completely destroy you. I will discipline you, but only in due measure. I will not let you go entirely unpunished. This is what the Lord says. Your wound is incurable, your injury beyond healing. There is no one to plead your cause, no remedy for your sore, no healing for you. All your allies have forgotten you. They cared nothing for you. I have struck you with as any enemy would and punish you as would the cruel, because your guilt is so great and your sins so many. Why do you cry out over your wound, your pain that has no cure? Because of your great guilt and many sins, I have done these things to you. But all who devour you will be devoured. All your enemies will go into exile. Those who plunder you will be plundered. All who make spoil of you, I will despoil. But I will restore you to health and heal your wounds, declares the Lord, because you are called an outcast, Zion, for whom no one cares. This is what the Lord says. So from that passage from chapter 30, verses 10 through 18, I'm going to talk about on this podcast show today, God will regenerate your wounds. God will regenerate your wounds. So, I'm a big superhero fan. As you notice, I'm always wearing superhero shirts, Superman, Iron Man, all kind of different, Spider-Man. I got, when I started working out, I was at like 298. I was almost 300 pounds, almost died of type 2 diabetes. My blood sugar was at 590. I almost died. And so my doctor basically told me I needed to change my life. I needed to start exercising. I needed to change what I was eating. And I needed to, change a lot of things that I was doing, try to stop stressing. And so I got a gym membership 2016 in May. And it's going on 9 years, well, 8 years, going on 9 years that I've been grinding and in the gym all the time. And so the first year, I just started doing cardio. I really didn't weight lift. I just started doing cardio, walking a lot. Wound up losing over 100 pounds, went down from 298 to 185. But I looked at real skinny, real small, and I really didn't like the way I looked because my face looked like it was caved in, and I didn't want people to think that I was sick. So I started researching, bodybuilding, started researching lifting weights, downloaded some weightlifting apps on my phone, and I started exercising and lifting. Well, I started lifting weights in 2017. And so I just started putting on muscle, learning how to eat better, learning from my mistakes, learning through failures and different things like that. But one of the first things I did was when I started working out, I went to Walmart, and at that time, a lot of Marvel movies was coming out. So Walmart had a lot of Marvel shirts, compression shirts. And so I bought a whole bunch of them. And so what I decided in my mind that each superhero shirt I put on, I was going to put myself in that role. So I was going to become that superhero character. So when I went in the gym and put on that shirt, I would become that character. So I would become Superman, where faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive. Put on Iron Man, put on Spider-Man, whatever superhero shirt that I put on, I displayed that character and went in and worked out like I was a superhero. And so I still been doing that till this day. And so I love superhero movies. And so as I was driving to work, listening to my motivational videos, something came to mind. I know it wasn't nobody but God. When Jesus asked the disciples, "Who do you say that I am?" And then he asked his disciples, "Who do they say that I am?" Then he asked his disciples, "Who do you say that I am?" Didn't no one say anything, but Peter said, "Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. You are the rock." And Jesus said, "Flesh and blood has not revealed this to me, but my Father in heaven. My spirit has given you these words." And so I know that when God gives me different messages, it doesn't come from myself. It comes from my Father's spirit through Jesus Christ in me. And so as I was driving to work, this thought came to mind: regenerate. Regenerate. How do you regenerate? That was the question that God proposed to me. How do you regenerate? And so then mentally, I started looking at the superheroes. I started looking at Superman. How did he regenerate the sun? Anytime his strength was depleted, he would fly up to the sun, and anything that hurt him, he would regenerate his power. When you look at the Hulk, he regenerated. When you look at Flash, he regenerated. When you look at the Black Panther with vibranium, he generated. Like anytime he would get hit or anytime somebody would try to cut him or stab him, um, his vibranium suit had the power to regenerate him to make him strong again if he got weak. Wonder Woman could regenerate. Black Adam could regenerate. Spider Man could regenerate. Captain America could regenerate. Wolverine could regenerate. And me and my baby just recently went to go see Venom, and he could regenerate. And so God began to share with me, how do you regenerate as a superhero? How do you regenerate? And so the list could go on with all of the different superheroes. Um, but I picked those superheroes because in each of the movies that they play in, anytime the enemy wounded them, you could see the cut that happened, but then you could see the regeneration process as the wound began to heal. I recently watched a movie called Ninja Assassins about these ninjas, and it was one ninja who broke away from the clan. He was the black sheep of the clan because he didn't agree with everything they was doing. But in his training and in his lessons in becoming a ninja, one of the things he learned how to do when he got cut or anything was to regenerate. And so in the movie, you would see him get cut by a ninja sword fighting his brothers, but then you could see him going through different rituals with his hands. And then you could see the wound that was cut begin to repair itself and begin to regenerate and heal. And so God began to share with me, how do we regenerate? How do we take this God power that we have and regenerate? And so that's what I want to talk about on today. But before I get into that, I want to show you just some little clips of different scenes from movies about what I'm talking about of being regenerated. Check it out. Close your eyes. You don't want to see this. You have a serious pain in the ass. Well, I aim to please. Eyes, lungs, pancreas. So many snacks, so little time. So I'm gonna stop it right there. So So a lot of those different scenes is from superhero movies, and you could tell as you was watching those superhero scenes that they can regenerate. And so that's the point that I was trying to push so that you can actually get a visualization of what I was talking about. You know, it says that 70 to 90% of human beings, of people, remember more things when they visualize it versus when they just hear it. And so I'm a big person of motivation and allowing people to visualize what I'm saying. And so that's what I wanted to show, how in each one of those scenes, how they were able to regenerate when they got hit, when they got knocked down, when the enemy was trying to destroy them, how their superhero strength allowed them to regenerate. And so we have the power within God to regenerate. The question is, how long does it take for you to heal when you are going through something that the enemy has tried to hit you and cause you to have wounds? How long will you learn? How long will it take for you to learn the lesson to regenerate and heal? And so, you know, as I've been on my healing journey, going through different things in my life, going through different stresses, going through different struggles, as I've reached the age of 55, I've learned now how to not allow certain things in my life that come to attack me to cause damage and to open up more wounds or to open up old wounds or to trigger old wounds. But now when they come to cut me and it cuts me, I'm able now to regenerate and heal from those triggers, from those traumas, from those past different things, so I don't go out and hurt other people. You know, sometimes we bleed on people that haven't even done anything to us. Somebody cut us a long time ago, and because we've never dealt with that trauma, when that new person comes in our lives and it triggers us, what happens is then we bleed on that new person, and they had nothing to do with what happened to you that other person did. And so they don't know how to regenerate. But when it happens to you, how do you regenerate? And so I'm gonna break down regenerate and what it means to me. And so the R in regenerate for me means responsibility. To heal yourself, but you must be connected to the pain in order to heal. Let me say that again. The R in regenerate is you have a responsibility to be connected to the pain in order to heal. And so the R is responsibility. It is your responsibility to take the time to be connected to that pain and understand that that pain hasn't come to destroy you, but the pain has caused for you to look inside of yourself and be healed. And so anytime God allows things to happen in our lives, it's never to destroy us, but it's only to teach us a lesson to look to God and to trust in him through the pain so that we can be healed. But it's going to take pain in order to be healed. What's the saying is no pain, no gain. So in order to go through different things and through the pain, we have to heal through the pain. And so, you know, what God was showing me is that it's our responsibility. It's no one else's responsibility to heal us. We have to look within inside of ourselves. We have to face ourselves in the mirror, and we have to deal with those trauma experiences and triggers that has happened in our lives and in order to heal from that pain. When you look at Job going through losing everything, and being at his lowest point. Even his wife said, "Why don't you just curse God and die? Why don't you just curse God and get it over with?" Job said, "You sound like a foolish woman. Blessed be the name of the Lord who giveth, and blessed be the name of the Lord who giveth away. But I'ma always bless his name, no matter what I'm going through." See, that's healing. That's an understanding of your responsibility in order to trust God in the process of the pain to heal. And the quicker you learn the lesson, then the quicker that you can regenerate and that you can heal. But you have to go through the pain. You have to go through the suffering. Nobody that's great. Nobody that's, if Jesus went through the pain of dying for us, having a crown of thorns stuck in his head to blood drip down his face, being beaten 39 lashes with bones and metal in the whip that tore off his flesh. By his stripes, I am healed, because Jesus took those stripes for me. When he went through all of that pain, he was able to regenerate on the third day and rose from the grave with all power. He regenerated himself. And so he's trying to show us today that we have that same power. He said, I give you that same power. When I leave, I'm going to come back. But as I'm gone in my absence, you will have that same power to regenerate. But the question becomes, how do you learn to regenerate? How long will it take you to go over the lesson and the lesson and the lesson to get it so that you can regenerate and heal? You see, the children of Israel walked around in the wilderness for 40 years, and their journey was only 2 days away. 2 days away, they could have been in Canaan, in the land of milk and honey, but they wandered around in the wilderness for 400 years because they hadn't healed. They hadn't healed. And so God continued to cause them to walk around and pass the land of milk and honey for 40 years until they finally learned the lesson. They stayed in Egypt 400 years until they finally cried out and learned the lesson. When Moses came to the burning bush, God told him, he said, I've heard the cries of my people in Egypt. It's time to go. So the question then becomes, how long does it take for you to learn the lesson? The E in regenerate means you must evaluate the good and the bad moments. What did I do good and what did I do bad? That's the E. You must evaluate. Each time you go through a lesson, each time you go through some pain, each time you go through some trials and tribulation, each time you go through some hurt, each time you go through some storms in life, how do you evaluate yourself to see what I learned? So that when the next storm comes, when the next pain comes, when the next trial comes, I know what it is. I know what the enemy is doing. I know the tricks of the enemy. And so guess what? When he comes to attack me, I know his tricks. So guess what? When he throws it at me, I'm going to regenerate. I'm going to evaluate the situation. I'm going to see what it is. And then I'm going to learn from it and I'm going to heal. The G in regenerate means is that you must glow differently. All the superheroes had a glow about them. It wasn't their suit on the outside that attracted people. I want you to get this. It was their inward character. And see, the real people who God put around you, they won't see the outer character of your suit, of your superhero, or who you are. They will see the inward character of who you are, your love, your long suffering, your patience, your care, your time that you take to help other people, your time that you take to take a phone call when somebody called you that's having a bad day, the time that you give people when they're struggling. You see, it glows different. You see, many people want to love Superman, but hardly people don't want to love Clark Kent. You know what I'm saying? Clark Kent and Superman was the same person. And so what happens is that sometimes what happens is that people fall in love with the outer you, but sometimes don't want to fall in love with the inner you. They fall in love with the outer you of what you can do for them. See, all the superheroes, Superman, and, Superman can help Lois Lane and give her everything she wanted. Spider-Man could help Jack, I can't think of her name right now. Whoever Spider-Man girlfriend was, who he loved. You know who I'm talking about. But anyway, in his spider suit, he could give her everything. But guess what? She didn't see him when she seen him as Peter Parker. You see what I'm saying? And so a lot of times people will love you for what you can do for them. in your super outer suit power. But when it comes time for you to be in your inner character and take off that Superman suit and they see your vulnerabilities, will they stick around and then love you as well? See, everybody talk about they want a Superman, but will you love Clark Kent? That's the question. See, will you? Lois Lane seen Clark Kent every day at the Daily Planet, but she walked past him just like he was an ordinary nerdy dude. But she was in love with Superman because she seen him fly and can do all these marvelous things. But Clark Kent could do the same thing. So when you have a Superman at home, understand, ladies, that you also, Mariah, be quiet. You also have a Clark Kent. Clark Kent and Superman is the same person. And so when you see that man as Clark Kent, take care of him just like you would take care of him as Superman. When you see your man as Clark Kent, look at him the same way as you do as Superman. Don't separate the two because they are the same. But they have a glow that's different. You see, when God regenerates you and changes your life, it's something about you that you have a glow, something people are attracted to, something that God will allow them to come to you. It's a glow about you because God has regenerated your life. He has changed your life and given you a glow. This is what real regeneration does and looks like to other people. The other E in regenerate is you must empty yourself, the old you, to fulfill the new you. You must empty yourself. You must empty your temple. You can't pour old wine into new wineskin or it will explode. You see, in order to regenerate, you must evaluate yourself. And when you evaluate yourself and you see that glow about you, what happens is that glow will sometimes go dim. And what happens is that you must empty yourself to allow God to pour back in you what he wants you to do, what he wants you to know in order to regenerate and energize yourself back up. You see, it reminds me of the parable that Jesus talked about with the 10 virgins. And this goes into my end in regenerate, which means no is a lesson word, not an end. No is not a end word, like an end of something. If somebody says no, that's the end, but it's the lesson in the no. And so it reminds me of the parable that Jesus was talking about with the 10 virgins. And the 10 virgins was going to see the bridegroom. And 5 of the virgins took extra oil and other 5, they didn't. And so as they were going on their journey, the journey got delayed. And so they fell asleep. And when they woke up, some of the oil had depleted. 5 of the virgins didn't have enough oil to get to where the bridegroom was at. But 5 of the virgins had taken extra oil. So when the journey got delayed, they had extra oil to pour into their lantern to get to where the bridegroom was. But see, this is the key. 5 of the virgins that didn't bring extra oil came to the 5 virgins that had extra oil and said, "Can you give me some of your oil, please, so we can?" They said, "No, we won't have enough oil to get to where we going to see the bridegroom." They said, "But you can go somewhere and buy some, but we're going on our journey." So 5 of them went on ahead with their oil, with their extra oil they had prepared, and got to the bridegroom. And when the other 5 had went to somewhere else and bought the oil, and then when they finally got to the bridegroom, he said, "It's too late because you didn't prepare." You see, sometimes in life, you have to say no. Sometimes in life, people will deplete your energy or try to deplete your energy. And when God regenerates you, you must understand who those people are. And when they come to deplete your energy, you must say, "No, back up. You're not going to destroy my sense of peace. You're not going to destroy my sense of comfort. You're not going to destroy what God has placed me in the time of my life." So sometimes you have to say no to people, and that irritates people. People can't respect the fact that if you say no, it's to protect your peace. If you say no, it's for you. If you say no, I need space right now, it's not an end. It's just saying it's a lesson that I'm dealing with myself. Respect that space. But we have to learn how to say no. In order to regenerate, you must learn how to say no. Because in that regeneration process is a time where you can reflect now, is a time where you can empty yourself and then allow your mind to be calm enough to learn the lesson. And then as you learn the lesson, guess what? Your wounds begin to regenerate and begin to heal. So sometimes you just have to say no. In order to regenerate, it's nothing wrong with saying no. There's nothing wrong with saying, I can't do that right now. I need to focus on what I need to do. You can't please everybody. The only one that you need to be trying to please is God. The only one you need to be putting first is the one who created you, who can regenerate you back to life. That's who you need to be focused on. And the reason why so many of us are depleted of energy is because we're trying to do everything for everybody else. And because our wounds are so deep, we don't take the time to regenerate. Let's move on. The other E in regenerate means that you must open your eyes to the negative that's in you. I'm going to try to play this video for you real quick.
She came to our clinic after realizing she was pregnant. She had been raped. But Florida's abortion ban is...
It's an election year. Let me back up. Let me turn it around so you can see it.
I can give as good as I get. Yeah. All right.
Florida's near total abortion ban has no real exceptions for rape, incest, or the health of the woman.
So see, sometimes in life, you have to battle yourself. And that's why I wanted to show you Superman versus Clark Kent, but they the same person. And so Superman was struggling with trying to save everybody, and he was frustrated and different things like that. He was upset. And so then you seen Clark Kent come out of him, which was the good side of who he was. And so then they started to battle. It's just like in the scriptures when Paul says, I war against my flesh, and what I should do, I do not. And what I do not, I should. And so there is a conflict within us that's constantly warned against ourselves, even in Star Wars, the good side, the dark side, and the force, which is the good side. It's always have a conflict, but you must fight yourself and allow that good self to regenerate so that you can glow, so that you can come out and say no, so that you can do what you need to do. So that's why I wanted to show that. Oh, that gave me chills when I was watching it, because when he began to choke the old Superman, when he began to choke the dysfunctional Superman, when he began to destroy the old Superman, guess what? You seen the new Superman come out of him. And that's what God wants to do with us. He wants to allow the real you to come out. He wants the real you to come out. That's why I wrote my book that's on Amazon, Will the Real You Stand Up? Because when you regenerate and God regenerates you, the real you will come out. The real you of who God has created you to be, the most powerful being on earth. He wants you to come out. And so you have to say no. And you have to the regenerate, the E in regenerate is you have to look at what's going on. You have to look at it. In Matthew, the 7th chapter, verses 1-5, it says, do not judge, or you too will be judged. And he talks about, he says, for in some way you judge others, you will be judged. And the measure you use, it will be measured to you. And he talks about, why do you look at the speck or the sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? And what God is saying is that we must examine ourselves. We must look at ourselves. We must eye the things that's in us. And that takes regeneration. That takes you allowing you to look at yourself and see the real you and deal with yourself. It's hard. It's hard looking at all the mistakes you've made. It's hard looking at yourself, knowing this old flesh that we have is sinful and we have done some things that we shouldn't do. We have said some things that we shouldn't say. But guess what? When you eye that and you ask God to forgive you and you cast down all those imaginations that presents itself before God, that the enemy's trying to use those imaginations to make you angry, to make you upset, to make you bitter, to make you hate, to make you frustrated. When you cast down those imaginations, guess what? You begin to regenerate. When you are able to eye those things, when you are able to look at yourself in the mirror, like Michael Jackson said, the man in the mirror, when you are able to look at yourself in the mirror and deal with those flaws and deal with those shortcomings, guess what? You can begin to regenerate and heal. But you got to eye him. You got to be honest with yourself. And you got to deal with that pain and that trauma that is causing you to give up. That's causing you not to regenerate and fully heal for your children. That's causing you to not to fully regenerate for your spouse, for your girlfriend. That's causing you not to regenerate for your boyfriend. That's causing you not to regenerate for the person that you love, but you are hurting them because you are hurting. It's not that they are doing anything to you. It's that the hurt that's in you that is causing you to reflect it on them, to trigger them, and now y'all both in pain. But the person that can regenerate doesn't worry about it. The person that can regenerate prays for him. The person that regenerates just gives it to God. The person that regenerates set barriers and says, God, I'm going to let you deal with the situation. See, that's what I had to do with a lot of relationships, my children, my family relationships. I had to step out of the way and say, God, you deal with them. I'm going to just move out of the way. God, this is your child. I'm going to just move out of the way and I'm going to let you do what you need to do. I'm not going to get whooped and get in the middle of that whooping. No. I'm going to just step out of the way and let God handle the situation. You see, you must eye those negative things in you in order to regenerate. You see, the R in regenerate means rehab. You must take the time to heal. I can remember a commercial came out with Klay Thompson, and it talked about how Klay Thompson went through his surgeries on his knees, and it talked about day one when he got hurt, and it added up all the days, 50 days, 70 days, 81 days. It added up 300 and something days, but then it got to the end, and because Klay had fully rehabbed this time, because he tried to come back and got hurt again. See, this is what happened when God puts us in. See, you see, God takes us through surgery. See, when we are talking about regeneration, what happens is that God has to lay us down on the surgery table because he's the great physician. And so what God does, he lays us down just like he did Adam. And when he lays us down, he begins to do surgery. And when he begins to do surgery, it says that he gives us a new heart. He makes us a new person. He begins to clean us and begins to take out that old heart and give us a heart transplant of a heart that's of him. And then as we get up off that surgery table, what happens is that he has other nurses around. He has other people around that then comes to help us rehab. And then as we're going through rehab, we must take the time in rehab to fully regenerate and heal. Because what happens is if you rush your rehab, guess what? You got to go back to surgery. So God is saying today, rehab properly. Take your time, step back, take some space for you in order to heal and understand who you are and eye the things that are in you that are not like God so that you can fully heal, so that you can help others. So when somebody triggers you or when somebody says something to you that you don't like, when somebody tries to hurt you or when somebody does something to you that you don't like or agitates you, you are able to regenerate and you are able to heal because you have properly stayed on the rehab. And because you have stayed on the rehab schedule, guess what? You can fully recover. But you must stay in rehab. In order to regenerate, you must stay in rehab. The A in regenerate means as you age, you got to take things slower. You see, this is what I'm talking about when you rehab. You see, as you get older, you have to take more time. You see, you must have a slower attitude. You must appreciate life. You see, as you get older in life, you see, when you were younger, you didn't think about age. You thought you was immortal. So you was running around and you was doing all kinds of crazy things. But as you get older, God is saying that as you age, I want you to regenerate. I want you to look at your attitude and take your attitude a little slower. Don't allow things to become so personal where every little thing happens to you, you get upset about it. He says that as you age, become wiser. As you age and these gray hairs become in your hair and in your chin and around on your face, guess what? It means wisdom. That you are supposed to take things a little slower and take your time to heal and to regenerate. You see, God is trying to regenerate us today. You see, God will regenerate your wounds if you allow him to take his time and do what he wants to do for you. The T in regenerate means time for everything. You see, in Ecclesiastes, they said there is a time to live and there is a time to die. There is a time to love and there is a time to hate. You see, there is a time for war and there's a time for peace. You see, God is saying that in order to regenerate, it takes time. I saw something the other day was so powerful. It showed a picture that was at the top and it had a man sitting on one side and he wanted to get to the other side to where God wanted him to go. And it had a clock in the middle and it had 3 o'clock and it had 4 o'clock and the hands were all in different directions. But then when the picture below said in God's time, and the clock went. And the clock said 9:15. And when it said 9:15, you had the 9 here and you had the little hand at the 9 and you had the big hand at the 15. And it was a straight line. And the man was walking across the straight line. And it said that you got to wait on God's time. Oh my God, that was so powerful. You got to wait on God's time. You see, in order to regenerate, God is saying, take the time. Get up in the morning and be grateful and take the time to thank me. Get up in the morning and be grateful and pray unto me. Throughout the day, pray unto me and be grateful. Have a gratitude. Have a thanksgiving of heart. Look at all that I have done for you. He says that you have to take the time in order to regenerate and wait on me. When you get back at home, be thankful because everybody didn't make it back home. Take the time to thank him and to regenerate. You see, it reminds me of the 10 lepers and they yelled out, Jesus, can you heal us? And Jesus said, yes, I can heal you. Your faith will make you whole. Go tell the priest that you are healed. And as they were walking to tell the priest, it said automatically they regenerated. Their cells regenerated and became whole. All the sickness that was on their faces and their bodies from the leprosy, guess what? Became whole. Their bodies regenerated and became whole. And what did they do? 9 of them kept on going. 9 of them was ready to go tell the priest that they are healed because as a custom, when you have leprosy, you have to go tell the priest in order to get back into civilian life because they isolated you. And so what began to happen is they were more worried about going to tell the priest to get back into civilian life, to do the things that God was trying to bring them out of. But only one came back and gave thanks. Only one came back to take the time to say thank you. I'm not worried about the priest. I'm going to give thanks to the one who regenerated me and made me whole. And as he went back and he talked to Jesus and he said, thank you, God, for healing me. He said, was there not 9 more? Where are the other 9? And the one leper said, and Jesus looked at him and said, your faith has made thee whole. Go live your life. Go enjoy life. Go love life because you are going to live life the right way. You see, that's what God is trying to tell us. When you thank him, when you begin to lift him up, when you begin to give him the glory, when you begin to look at him and put him first in your life, he begins to say that everything will fall in place because you have taken the time to heal. You have taken the time to regenerate. Take the time today to heal. Take the time to allow God to regenerate your wounds. We all have scars. We all have wounds. We all have cuts, and every now and then we look at it, we can see them. But it's the pain when we look at them that allows us to see how far God has brought us. When I look at all of the dark days of my life, I can see how far God has brought me. When I look at over 55 years of my life, I could have been dead and gone. I can remember driving home when I was young one night and fell asleep. And when I woke up, I was on the side of the road and I swerved back on the road. I could have veered off and crashed and I could have been dead and gone. I can remember at a young age at 16 when me and my father got into it and he went outside and got his gun and pointed it to my head and pulled the trigger with the bullets in it, but it didn't go off. And he opened the barrel of the gun and you could see the barrel hitting the bullet, but it didn't go off. You see, I could have been dead and gone, but because of God regenerating my life, nothing but his grace and mercy that has kept me. So now I got to give him the time and thank him each and every day I wake up. Every day he gives me another day, I'm thankful. No matter how bad it is, no matter what it looks like, no matter if I went through Hurricane Milton, no matter I didn't have any power, no matter what frustration I'm in, no matter what is going on in my life, I'm going to give him the time to say thank you. Because blessed are you that give and blessed are you that take it away. But blessed is your name all the time. In order to regenerate, you must take the time to thank him each and every day. And when your time comes, that bridge of that time, 9:15, is going to allow you to walk across and receive the blessings that God has for you. The other E in regenerate means that you must evolve. You must evolve into something new. You see, when you look at mutants, when you look at Marvel superheroes, when you look at DC superheroes, you evolve into something that's greater. You see, in Ezekiel, it says that in Ezekiel 36, it says that, for I will take you out of the nations. I will gather you from all of the countries and bring you back into your own land. I will sprinkle clean water on you and you will be clean. I will cleanse you from all of your impurities and from all of your idols. I will give you a new heart and a new spirit in you. I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a new heart of flesh. I will put my spirit in you and I will move you to follow my decrees and be careful to keep my laws. Then you will live in the land that I gave your ancestors. You will be my people and I will be your God. And I will save you from all uncleanness. I will call for the grain and make it plain and bring not famine upon you. He says, I will increase the fruit of the trees and the crops of the field so that you will no longer suffer disgrace among the nations because of the famine. He said, oh my God. Oh my God. He says, I will take you out of all of that because you will evolve. You see, God is saying that if you allow him to regenerate, if you take the time and allow him to regenerate you, you will evolve into something that's greater and new. You will evolve into something that no one has ever seen before. When people look at me, they look at my God. 8 years ago, you were 300 pounds. 8 years ago, you were stressing. 8 years ago, you were overweight. 8 years ago, you looked totally different. People hit me all the time in my inbox and people hit me all the time on my page. Man, you glowing. You look happy. I can see happiness and peace all over you because it's God regenerating my life. God has regenerated my wounds. He's regenerating and healing me all over, from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, to the innermost part of my mind and my being. He's regenerating me and making me whole. Not just my mind, but my spirit. Not just my spirit, but my outer body or my flesh. He's making me unrecognizable because I'm evolving into something that's new. I'm evolving into something that God wants me to evolve in, to give him the glory and to do what he's called me to do. So you must evolve. You must evolve. You must evolve into what God has called you to do. You see, God has called us to do great things. God has called us to do mighty things. God has called us in this day and age that we live in to praise him and to tell people of his mighty good work. See, when God places it on your heart to do something, then God is calling you to do it for a reason. God is trying to generate your wounds. He's trying to regenerate your wounds. And how does he regenerate your wounds? He wants you to take responsibility. How does he regenerate your wounds? He wants you to evaluate yourself. How he wants you to regenerate your wounds? He wants to give you a glow that people will see and be attracted to you so that they can see the inner you, not the outer you. How he wants you to regenerate your wounds. He wants you to empty yourself so that he can pour into you what he wants you to do. How he's going to regenerate your wounds. He wants you to say no to some things when people are trying to do things to get you out of character. He wants you to say no. When people are trying to cross your boundaries, he wants you to say no so that he can regenerate your wounds. How he wants you to regenerate your wounds. He wants you to look in the eye of yourself so that you can see the most inner part of your flaws and your sins. And he wants you to say, what? God, forgive me, create in me a clean heart and renew in me a right spirit. He wants to regenerate you. How he wants to regenerate you? He wants you to rehab. He wants you to take the time to trust in him. He wants you to take the time to get into his presence. He wants you to take the time to look to him and to trust in him as you're going through your regeneration process. How he's going to regenerate your womb. As you age, he wants you to slow down. As you get older and older, he wants you to be more wiser and wiser. As you become in all that what God is trying to create you to do. And as you get older, guess what? He wants you to take time to be a little wiser, to slow down and appreciate life. Mariah, how he's going to regenerate you. He wants you to take time to thank him for everything. How he's going to regenerate you. He wants you to evolve into something new. God is going to regenerate your wounds. And if you follow these steps and regenerate, he will give you a glow and something about you that people have never seen before. He will give you a glow of something about you that people will be attracted to you because it's the God that lives in you. You see, Jesus says that you can build the buildings all you want to, but only I will attract them to me. You can have the best chandeliers in the church. You can have the best church in the whole world and you can draw people to him. But are you drawing them to Christ? Are you drawing them to the one who can regenerate your life? He said, I've come down here to heal the brokenhearted. I've come down here to help the poor. I've come down here to help those who have a bruised heart. I've come down here to help those that have been misused and abused. I've come down here to regenerate your wounds. Let him regenerate you today. Let him come into your life and let him regenerate your life. He wants to regenerate you, just like you see in them superhero movies. When you see a superhero movie from now on and you see a superhero get wounded and cut, and you see that regeneration within their lives, heal that wound, I want you to think of your heart. I want you to think of your life. I want you to think of how God is regenerating you. It's your inspirator, motivated to win 365 Men of Chivalry podcast. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Continue to trust God. Continue to live, laugh, and love. Continue to look to God and continue to allow God to regenerate your wounds. It's your inspirator. Deuces.